I love a good 3D crystal puzzle. They're fun, they're relaxing, they're challenging, and I like making these stop motion videos with them. However, I get a lot of people asking, hey, can you do a tutorial about how to actually build these out? So I decided to start making some videos of those, and I started with the duckling. Now originally we started with a yellow duckling, and then we made a pink duckling, and now we actually have a 3-pack of neon colored ducklings coming out, which will include this orange one, a blue one, and a green one. Now one thing to note about these ducklings is that the molds used for the puzzle pieces are all the same across the board. So you could actually mix and match all of your pieces and make a cool multicolored rainbow duck if you wanted to. That's also to say that these instructions for the orange duck that I'm doing will work for the yellow duck, the pink duck, the blue, the green, and any other future 3D crystal puzzle duck variants. So I'm going to show you piece by piece how to build this from the very beginning. All right, let's jump in. Okay, to kick this whole thing off, you're gonna need to find the base plate. So that's where this piece comes in. You'll see it's nice and flat. It's got 2 holes in it. You'll be able to tell this one from the rest of the pieces because, well, it doesn't look like any of their pieces. All right, so we're gonna set that right there, and that's going to be our first piece. Our next piece looks like this. Now I will say a lot of these pieces in this puzzle will look similar. So what you're looking for in this one is fairly evenly spaced out on either side, one indenture, one hanging out, and hanging out. So we got 2 poking out and 1 inside. When you are placing these pieces, note that the way that a rubber ducky is curved, you're going to have the shorter side be the down and the wider side be the side that's sticking up. So let's place this one. We can look right here where it's gonna go. So it's gonna go on the bottom because we need those 2 pieces to fit in correctly like that. Whoa! If you want, feel free to pause this video at any time if you need to find the next piece. The next piece that we will be using is this one. Alright, you'll notice this piece has a chunk of wing on the outside, and it's got, on the bottom, it'll have an indenture and bit. We'll call that a bit. Can't remember what the actual name of it is. And then on the top side it also has an indenture and a bit. So we're going to place that piece right here. Alright. So moving on to the next piece is this one. Okay, so you'll see this one has a hole in it, so that'll help you figure out where this one goes, or which one this one is. Because many of these pieces are similar, they're going to be curved, they're going to be double layered with an odd assortment of bits and of indentures. So this one will go right here. So you'll notice we have a hole in the center and a hole on the back. So this is actually going to be the tail of the duck. So that'll happen from time to time. One thing that I recommend if you are having trouble with your puzzles falling apart, a bit of Scotch tape and run it across the parts that have already been placed. That will keep it from falling apart like it just did. Alright, our next piece is this one. You'll notice this one has on the bottom 2 indentures and on the top 2 bits. You'll notice they're pretty widely spaced apart so they don't overlap all that much, and this piece will go right here on the front of the duck. Alright? And for the next so many layers we're essentially going to be alternating front and back, sides, front and back, sides, front and back, sides. Our next piece is this one. Alright, on the top layer we have a bit and an indentation, and then on the bottom we have a bit and an indentation. Alright, and again these ones don't overlap too much, just a little bit right there. And this one will go right here on the front. Again, remember, with all of these pieces, especially at the beginning, the shorter width one will be the bottom and the wider will be the top because of the curvature of the duck. As we get near the top, that will switch. Alright, so this is our next piece. There's a lot of overlap with this one, but there's also a big hole in the center, so that one should be easy to find. We've got 2 indentions on the top and 2 indentions on the bottom. Alright, and this will go on the tail. Boom, just like that. Next up we have this piece. This piece is got a lot of overlap, especially for the top. The top is almost completely overlapped on the bottom, which is much larger and wider. The bottom has 1 indentation and 1 bit. And the top, 1 indentation, 1 bit. Alright, so this is our next piece, and that will go right here on the side. Our next piece after that has a lot of overlap as well. Now this one, we'll notice there's bit on either side on the bottom, bit on either side on the top. And it's going to go right here. Next we have this piece, which has very little overlap. You'll see just a little bit right there. The top piece has a bit on the right and a indentation on the left. The bottom is the same and it goes right. You'll notice there's a little bit of it juts out just a tiny bit right there, and that's because that is for a wing. It's going to go in the front here. Boom, just like that. Alright, this next piece is going to be a piece for the tail again, and you know that because there's that hole in the center. And you can see the wing right there. There's a little bit of an indenture for that. We've got on the top 2 indentions, 2 indentions on the bottom. Alright, and that goes right there. After that, we've got this piece, which you will notice has an indentation on the top and a bit on the top, and on the bottom, same thing. There's a little bit of overlap. This one might be a little confusing because, again, a lot of these pieces look the same. You will notice there is a chunk for the wing, however, so that is something that differentiates this piece from the others, and it's going to go right here on the front. Boom, just like that. Our next piece has, woo, flies out of my hand. Our next piece has, if you'll see, has a bit on the top on both sides, and on the bottom it's got an indentation and a bit. It's got a little marking for the wing. It also has very little overlap. You can see just a little bit there in the center, and it's got this very weird shape right there, that kind of crescent shape that touches the hole that goes on the tail. So that's how you can differentiate this piece, knowing that it's touching that hole. We're going to flip it upside down. The part that touches the hole should be the bottom piece. We're getting to the point where the curve is flattening out, and then it's going to start curving back upward again. Alright, for our next piece we have a full-on tail piece. So you've got that hole in the center. A lot of overlap on this one. It's going to be a bit on the bottom. There's 2 bits. On the top there's a bit and an indentation. This one shouldn't be too difficult to differentiate from the other pieces. Hopefully you don't have too much of a trouble with it. And it's going to go right there. And you can see, you can see the curve is starting to flatten out quite a bit. Our next piece is this one. You will notice on the top it has 2 indentions, and on the bottom it's got an indention and a bit. There's about a medium overlap. It's about half of it is overlapped with the other, and it's going to go on the front. Oop. The part with the 2 indentions actually is on the bottom. Again, it's kind of a little confusing right now because the curve is flattening out, and it's difficult to necessarily know which way it's supposed to go. Except for with this next one, which is this one. With this one, there's quite a bit of overlap, but you will see this wing, it's actually going to be like this. So now the top is the thinner one and the bottom is the thicker one. All right? So we're going to, the bottom's got 2 little bits, and the top has a bit and an indention, and we're going to place this one right here on the side, and you'll see the wing is now almost complete for this side of the duck. This piece we've got on the bottom we've got 2 indentions, and on the top we've got a bit and a bit. Alright, and these are going to go right here to complete the wing on this side. You can see the wing kind of sticks out just a little bit. Alright, we're placing that guy back where it was, and here we go. This is a sort of big moment because our next piece is this piece. You will notice this piece has a bit, but it's very rounded. It's got a hole in the center, and you can see that hole actually has a bit of extra plastic on the inside of that hole because that is where the grooves to catch the screws' teeth are. We are going to place this right here, and here is where the puzzle gets a bit tricky because our next piece is this screw. All right? We are going to take the whole puzzle. All right, so here's where it gets a little bit interesting because we're going to... Okay, so here's where it gets a little bit interesting because the next piece is this. It's the shorter of the 2 poles, the 2 screws, and the way we're going to put it in is we're going to grip the entire puzzle. Now, if you have masking taped this, that might be a little easier. If you use some Scotch tape or something along the sides to hold it together, that'll be easier. I have not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one finger on top here, then my thumb down below, my other fingers down below to try and keep it together as I pick it up. Then I'm going to slide the screw in like that. And I'm going to tighten it with the key. Each 3D crystal puzzle comes with one of these, and you can just stick it in there and tighten it. This end can be a little bit breakable. So once I get it in, if I want to really kind of tighten it, I take this side, still has a little piece of plastic sticking out, and I'm going to use that to tighten it the rest of the way. Okay, so now that's not coming apart. Everything we do after this, these pieces will stay together. Our next piece will be this piece. Now, if you look on the side, the wider half, you see the slope, the wider half is the bottom now because we are coming to the top part of the curve. The bottom will have a bit and then an indention, and the top part will have a bit and an indention. And you'll see also right there, there's a little spot for a circle. Right there. and that is actually for the circle, the hole that'll go in the middle. This piece will attach like, will attach like so. Okay, right there on the front. And our next piece will be this one. This one will be easy to find because it's kind of got these sharp edges near the top. Kind of like that. And those pieces are part of the duck's wing and tail. It goes right there. Alright, and then our next piece is similarly shaped in that it's got that curve along the smooth edge. However, it doesn't have the double points like the last one did. This is the very next piece, and it's going to go right here. Next up, a very easy to find piece. It is the tail. Well, I cannot hold these pieces properly. The tail here is going to be the next piece. Very easy to find because it's the only piece that looks even remotely close to this one, and that's going to go right there. And it'll fit in place nicely, covering up the hole that kept the bottom half together. Our next piece will be this one. And again, there's a curve to here, a very smooth surface. It's got on the top layer, it's got a bit and an indentation. On the bottom layer, it's 2 indentions, and those are going to go right here on the front. Next up, we've got this piece. And it's smaller than the last one. It also has a bit of a curve, a kind of super sharp edge on this piece. And this will go right here. Alright. Next up is another smaller piece without as much curve. You can see this one kind of has... See, this one kind of has this edge. The bottom piece is jutting out, and this will go right here. We are creating the neck of the duckling, and our next piece will be this one right here. On the top, it's got 2 indentions. On the bottom, it's got 2 bits. There's a little bit of overlap, but you'll notice there's a lot of smooth edge right there, and it's much smaller, so you know it's going to be either near the top or near the bottom of the head. This one is near the top, and it's going to go right there. Slide in nice and easy. Our next piece is this one. Now this one's interestingly shaped. You'll see it's got a lip right there that will help distinguish this from the others. On the lip will go on the bottom, and on the bottom you'll see there are 2 indentions. On the top there's an indention and a bit, and this is going to go right on the front of our duck, right there, front of its face. Next up, we've got this piece. Once again, it has that same lip right there. It's denoting it as the bottom of the head of the duck. And you'll see that the top has a bit and an indentation. The bottom has a bit and an indentation. There is about 2/3 overlap, but most importantly this lip. That's how you know that this is the right piece. And that's going right here. Oop. It's going right there. Near the back of the head, inside of the head. Alright, the next piece will be easy to find because it has this interesting cutout right there. It's sort of T. It's the only piece that has that. And this piece is going to go, you're going to put the lower layer on the side so that that weird piece is right there on the front, ready to hold our beak. Speaking of our beak, here's our beak. It comes in two pieces. When you put them together, you'll have ooh. When you put them together, you have a little beak right there. They don't connect, however. You just have to place the two pieces, these two puzzle parts, place them together, and when they are together, that's how you get the mouth. It might be a little easier to put them in one at a time, so we put the bottom beak in first. Whew. Actually, it's easier to put them in at the same time. So we push those together. I'm holding the sides like that so that they stay together, and then just slide them together into that spot. Bam! So now our beak has been attached. Next up, we're going to get the back of the head there, and that's going to a piece that looks like this. You'll notice the top has a bit and an indention. The bottom has two indentions. There's very little overlap between the two layers. And hopefully at this point in the puzzle there won't be too many pieces, and this one won't be too difficult for you to find. And that one just gets placed right there. And then next up we've got this guy. Now this guy will be noticeable because of right here. You'll notice a sort of flatter edge, and that's because that's where the beak goes. So let's go ahead and place this. The bottom layer is just this small bit that's going to go right there to fill up that area, and then it's going to go along the beak. Next up, we've got this piece. This piece is another one of the small ones. There's very little overlap, although on the outside edge there's a bit more overlap. There is enough area in the center so that you can see that there's a circle right there, there's a hole. On the bottom, it's got two indentions, and on the top, it's got an indention and a bit, and we're going to place that right here. After that, we are busting out this piece. Now this piece, it kind of looks like a crescent moon almost. The bottom has a indention and a bit, and the top has two indentions, and it's going to go right here. The bit will slide right in. Next up, we have the final piece that has an indention for the beak. You'll see this piece right here has that. It almost kind of looks like a half-eaten apple. It's a round circle, and the bottom has the indention for the beak and an indention and a bit. The top has an indention and a bit, but it's all on one side. There's very little overlap with this one as well, and you'll know exactly where to put it because, again, the indention for the beak. Just match that up and it goes in perfectly. Now next up, this piece is the piece that has the eyes. Now the eyes don't come black. I actually have already placed the stickers on this piece. However, you will see little markings for where the eyes are. And that's the easiest way to find this piece. Again, it's just going to be a fairly simple, nondescript piece that looks like a lot of the pieces in this puzzle. However, on the side there are eyes. And that is your next piece, and those eyes are going to go right above the beak, where eyes should be. Alright, we are getting close to the end. This is one of our last pieces. It's the smallest of the remaining pieces. It's two-layered. The bottom has 2 indentions. The top has an indention and a teeny tiny bit. And we're going to place that on the back of the head here. Ooh, right there. And coming down to it, next one is this piece. The top has 2 bits, the bottom has 2 bits, very little overlap. This is one of 3 pieces left. I hope you can find it amongst those 3. And it's going to be placed right there, like so, and then push it down there. Boom, like that. Next up, and almost finally, we've got this piece. Now this piece is almost a full circle, but not quite. It's got an extra large hole in the center because that's where our screw's going down, and it's going to be placed so it fits nicely right like so. Now what we are going to do is take this pole, this is the longer of the 2 poles that came with the puzzle. We're just going to lower it down through there until it stops, and kind of shake it like that to make sure that it has reached the screw teeth, and then we're going to just screw it on down. We want the screw to lay flush with the rest of the puzzle, like so, and now you can see it is pretty solid. And to finish our ducky off, we take his bald little head and we place it like so. Push it down. There we go. And that is the duck. Again, this works for all colors and variations of the rubber ducky. So when you get the 3-pack that this awesome neon orange comes with, the same instructions will work for the blue one or the green one. Or if you get the pink one. Or if you get the yellow one. Or if you get any of the colored ducks, these are the instructions. Now if you're ever stuck on the duck puzzle or any of the 3D crystal puzzles, please check out rugame.com. Not only do we sell most of the puzzles, but we have the solution to all of them written out in instructions with pieces numbered so you know exactly what you are doing. If you liked this video or found it helpful, I would really appreciate a like, possibly a subscribe, and maybe share it out to your friends, comment on the video, anything you can do to help the algorithm. To check out more of our 3D Crystal Puzzle videos, please click here. To subscribe to our channel, please click here. And please do enjoy your finished puzzle, as it will look beautiful on your bookshelf, I am sure. Thanks for watching! Hey, did you like that video? Why not run down there and give it a little like? Or write in the comments what you liked about it. Better yet, you could hit this button right here to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with all our fun videos. Speaking of those fun videos, you can click right here to watch some of them, huh? And if you're watching this on your phone and I'm just kind of doing this and there's no buttons over there, just use your imagination. Okay, bye, love you!